Hello students, good evening. I'm Veena Talwar, your English teacher. I'm ready with the poem from Treasure Chest. The title of the poem is A Work of Artifice. This is the first poem in your book, that is Treasure Chest, a collection of poems for ICSE. This poem is for class 9, right? Okay, so in this poem, we shall read how Marge Piercy, she is an American poet, how she has projected the women who are conditioned to live a limited life. In the male dominated society, women are always subjected to be in restrictions, right? So, this poem, okay, first of all, let me ask you if you know the meaning of artifice. Artifice means it's the cunning devices used for deception. So, this poem is about the social limitations of women. As I said, the poetess Marge Piercy shows how women are conditioned to live a limited life. The hold of social customs on women is so strong that releasing them will require fierce force and empowerment. These closures have kept women from achieving their potential to the fullest. Women have traditionally played only secondary roles in a patriarchal society. In this regard, Marge Piercy's work strikes at the root of gender inequality prevalent in most of the societies. However, the poem speaks more about the psychological degeneration that happens due to the clipping of wings. Okay, now we come to this first 5 lines. The bonsai tree in the attractive pot could have grown 80 feet tall on the side of a mountain till split by lightning. You know what is a bonsai tree? We call it a plant. Isn't it bonsai plant? Because we keep on pruning that plant and don't let it grow to its fullest. So the bonsai tree planted in an attractive pot, it has the potential to grow up to a height of 80 feet. The bonsai tree in the attractive pot could have grown 80 feet tall. So it has the potential of growing up to a height of 80 feet by the mountainside until it is struck by lightning and split apart. Now, split is related to injury, and the weak bonsai perishes before it gets a chance to grow the best of its capacity. Then, from lines 6 to 16, I'll take up these 10 lines. But a gardener carefully pruned it. It is 9 inches high. Every day, as he whittles back the branches, the gardener croons. It is your nature to be small and cozy, domestic and weak. How lucky, little tree, to have a pot to grow in. Now, this poem is actually the extended metaphor. The bonsai tree symbolizes the average American women. So, bonsai tree is an extended metaphor for women. So, the tone of this poem is very indignant, very angry. This Marge Piercy is angry at the male dominant attitude prevailing in the society. So, she says that even the title itself is something, that artifice. What is artifice? That is something deceptive, crafty, subtle, and cunning. See, the bonsai normally it is a very admirable tree or plant. So it expresses uh, that miniaturization, that is clipping, that is pruning of the plant every day, so that distorts its potential and it makes it something puny. Otherwise, as I said, the bonsai would have grown 80 feet tall and had gained its own power, but it is instead so superficially manicured and depreciated. So we see that the gardener carefully prunes it. So very cunningly he prunes, he keeps pruning it only when it is 9 inches high. Every day, mind you, it is every day he is pruning it as he whittles back the branches, as he cuts those branches. The gardener prunes, and as he is pruning, he is singing, enjoying. It is your nature to be small and cozy, and giving a false belief to the bonsai that it is your nature to be small and cozy and delicate, domestic and weak. How lucky, little tree, to have a pot to grow in. So the gardener carefully pruned it, and this tree is just 9 inches tall now. Every day, as he clips the branches, he sings. That is the nature of the tree, to remain small, cozy, homely, meek, and not meant to exhibit its power. And he says that the tree is lucky to have a home, a secure place to grow in. So we find in this stanza that the gardener is a metaphor of the society, the male dominated society. And every girl is taught to feel cozy in the space assigned to her. The word pruned, it conveys the manipulative act of the gardener who prunes the tree according to his will. So the gardener becomes dominant and exercises his will over the tree. So the gardener is the symbol of male dominating power. The poet uses the word lucky. See, in this line number 9, that is, it should be in this, there are 10 lines. So line number 9, how lucky little tree. That is, he uses the word lucky to add a tinge of sarcasm to the poem. Actually, it is an irony. The tree is not lucky to grow in that decorated pot. In the same way, women are not lucky to be just pieces of decorations in their house, in their domestic life. So, domestic is an interpretation of the tree belonging to the feminine gender, a woman confined within the four walls of her home. So now we take up from line number 17 to 24. So 8 lines in all, right? One must work very early to stunt the growth of living creatures. So, the first 2 lines, with living creatures, one must begin very early. That is, one must work very early in order to stunt, that is, stop the growth of living creatures. To do off their growth, the bound feet, the crippled brain, the hair in curlers, the hands you love to touch. So, to preserve their daintiness, their feet must be bound and their brains must be crippled. I'm talking of women. So, as I said, this is an extended metaphor for women. The bonsai is an extended metaphor for women. So, the gardener prunes it every day and gives it a false belief that it is that the bonsai plant is very lucky. That is means the women are very lucky to have a good domestic life. They can live happily within the four walls of their house. But this is not the case. So one must work very early to stunt the growth of living creatures. To preserve their daintiness, their feet must be bound. Yeah, women are not allowed to go out for a long distance, especially alone and at night. So their feet must be bound and their brains must be crippled. Their brain is tuned to whatever the male um, dominant society tells them. So the brains must be crippled so that their thoughts and emotions will be silenced. Their hair must be curled to make them attractive and appealing. So the poet conveys the idea that the tree's growth must be stunted at an early age to achieve effectiveness. It should not be allowed to flourish and it must be nipped in the bud. The word crippled gives the idea of oppression and humiliation, due to which the living creature's strength is shattered. So, women too suffer for the sake of beauty. So, this stanza can be correlated to the practice of the bound feet, which was prevalent practice in China. So, the imagery that is reflected by the crippled brain gives a sense of oppression and torture. And once the brain receives misguided beliefs, the individual's freedom is at stake. The hands symbolize femininity and purity accompanied with delicacy and loyalty. A woman with delicate hands is considered as a Puritan. Pierce's final message is that women are exploited and manipulated by society and their expectations. So, this is the explanation of the poem. Now, coming to the critical appreciation of the poem, we can say that the tone is satirical. Percy used the bonsai tree to symbolize the average American women. Written in 1936, it would make sense that this poem is with reference to the American woman at a time when women were still working to assimilate into the American workforce and into their new role in the country. But they were stopped. That is like the bonsai is pruned. And as we have already discussed, artifice. Artifice means something that is deceptive, crafty, subtle, and cunning. Whereas we normally consider bonsai trees admirable, impressive examples of human skill, this poem finally suggests that mini, minimizing something, that is by diminution and distortion, accompanies making something puny, something that may have grown grand by its own power is instead superficially and artificially manicured and depreciated. Fundamentally, the poem is about gender bias and the resulting inequality which has always kept the women from living their lives to the fullest. The poem consists the pain in every woman's life. Women are asking for more space and freedom to breathe. but they are only suppressed. So, in this poem, as we have seen, the poet compares the lives of women in societies with bonsais. In a patriarchal system, which is followed in most of the societies, the male domination is there. The world has become modern, but the ancient customs still stop women from living a life full and happy. So, this bonsai, again, I repeat, it's a symbol and represents several things. The bonsai tree represents oppression of women, their inability to grow, and how they are kept tied to ancient customs. This hold of social customs on women is so strong that releasing them will require fierce power and empowerment. So, children, this is the end of the poem. I hope you have understood it. In case you have any problem, any question to ask, you can give your comment. Right? Okay. So, please share, like, and subscribe to my channel, and also press the bell icon so that all new videos can be conveyed to you. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.